Okay, let's make some brownies. Take your basic mixing bowl. Into this we're going to put 3 cups of sugar. Superfine, table sugar, white sugar, whatever you want to call it, just granulated sugar. Into this we are going to put 1 cup of melted butter or margarine. Using margarine today. I prefer butter, but I can afford margarine. The better the margarine you use, though, the better you're going to have results you're going to have. Of course, butter is always better because a better flavor and a better texture. Now you want to cream the butter and sugar together. Unlike many baking recipes, though, you don't have to cream for 5 or 10 minutes. You're not looking for that mayonnaise-like consistency. You're just wanting to integrate the two so they're no longer all clumpy. They'll start to become a smooth mixture. You can see it's starting to come together there. If you can see around my hands. There. See, it's no longer clumpy, it's just nice and smooth. Into this we're going to put 4 eggs, and we're going to do a little editing here to speed this up. Now you wanted to put them in one at a time. Really and truly, it's just to keep from making a mess. They integrate quicker and easier if you do them one at a time. Okay, we have 4 eggs in. Gotta love video editing, don't you? You want to make sure everything's been mixed smooth. You don't want to overbeat here because you don't want to denature the eggs, but you want to make sure everything's good and mixed. A tablespoon or so of vanilla. I like a good skadoosh, so maybe more than a tablespoon. That's fine. Mix that up, and we're gonna set this over to the side and go grab our dry. Now I have already once pre-sifted 1.5 cups of flour and 1 cup of cocoa powder. I like to sift it twice because the cocoa tends to be a little clumpy. To this we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. I just use table salt because it's what I've got. Sift this together. I also find that because cocoa powder is not the easiest thing to integrate into a wet mixture, this helps blending it in with the flour and the salt. It tends to make it a little easier to mix. So, do you have to sift? No, but once again, I find it just makes things a little easier. Now, much like muffin method, when you're making muffins, we're going to add the dry to the wet, and you don't want to overmix. This is going to look like some big old clump of mess. You're going to think, man, this crap's not going to come together. Just, go a little slow with it. Mix it as you go. Don't overmix. All you want to do here is make sure everything is fully integrated. Oop, a little mix there. A little mess. It's all good. That's what shirts are for, right? You don't want to overmix and make gluten. The more you work anything with flour in it, you're going to get gluten. Great for bread, great for sweet rolls, not so good for brownies. I don't want to chew on my brownies. I want them to just be nice and moist and chewy. So, a little more mixing here. You want to be sure that you scrape the sides, you scrape the bottom, because the last thing you want to do is start pouring this into your pan and find out you've got a nice big, glob of egg mixture on the bottom that hasn't been integrated in. That's always fun. Alright, so I'm going to tap that off. I have, once again, a little video editing. We have an oven preheated at 350. This is a 9x13 that's been greased and floured. You can also put parchment if you don't want to flour it, but I still recommend a light greasing if you're going to use parchment. It helps the parchment stick. If you really want to get good with it, cut the parchment out to fit the bottom of the pan, and flour the sides. Spread this out. Just make sure it's relatively even. It should flow nice. What this is going to do, this is going to bake up. It's going to have a nice crispy crust on top. It's going to get all crinkly. That crust is going to be almost its own separate layer. The inside is going to be fudgy, moist, but cooked. If it's runny, then you've got a problem. Don't ask me what I was talking about there. I'm just waving my hands. Sim's all bim, it's all magic. Probably talking about a little crust there. The crust for me is you got to have a nice crispy crust like right here. Now it bakes for 30 to 45 minutes depending on your oven. This took me 42 minutes, and as you can see here in just a second, yes, and I know my video quality's kind of crappy, but it's a nice solid crust right there. I'm tapping on it. The crinkles there. Now, I've let these cool for about 20 minutes. 20 minutes, in my opinion, is the minimum. Yes, they're still warm, so you can see they're falling apart. They're moist. They're tender. There's that little bit of crust I was talking about. I'll pick up a piece here, and you can see on the side, still nice and soft, moist in the middle, fudgy, but that crust is on top. And I hope that you've enjoyed the brownie recipe. This is my basic. There'll be many more videos to come, and give me a thumbs up if you like it. We'll see you next week.